Hey guys, first regardsman here. I'll be talking about every single class in Space Marine 2 patch 12.0 and ranking them. Now, this patch, we do have a brand new class in the Techmarine, and before I even get into this list, I do want to say that we are judging the classes on their overall performance here, not one mode like true solo, so just keep that in mind. Now, the first class I'll be talking about is Assault. Assault has the most troubled past in Space Marine 2 on the launch of the game in 2024. He was by far the worst class in the game. His damage was god-awful, his mobility was still good, but not as good as it is now, and really, he suffered from terrible perks, a terrible balance of all the melee weapons in the game, and since then, he has gotten significantly better thanks to perk changes and just general quality of life features on him, like invulnerability on his ground pound landing, and I would say he is currently a top tier class in the game. I think this class is very underrated. His Nova damage, otherwise known as burst damage, is incredible. He is part of the best team comp for Siege and really the best team comp in general for damage, like Tactical, Bulwark, and the Assault class, because a Tactical Auspex with Zealous Blow on this class will allow you to just one-shot pretty much anything in the game on 90% of the content. And also, he has perks like Zealous Blow that will scale up infinitely with enemies on the screen, or things like Wings of Flame allow you to one-shot combo with a gun strike on the majority of enemies as well. So he really does perform at a superb level in the majority of content in the game. The only place like he kind of suffers is on his own with ammo economy on some builds versus Chaos, but that is true for a lot of the classes in this game, and I would say he is firmly at the top of A or in S, and to be honest, I'm just going to toss him in S because it has been many moons for this class. I think he deserves to be at the top of the list because he really is just that strong right now, and even though some classes may provide more individual benefit than he does, he is part of the best team comps in this game, and his damage really cannot be understated. And his weapon selection like Power Axe, Power Fist, and the Thunder Hammer, these are hard-hitting weapons, and he does a ton with that on top of mobility. So amazing class, way better than he used to be, and definitely underrated. Next class here is Heavy. Now, Heavy is a very strong yet kind of simple class, and he has been power crept a little bit in this game recently, mainly because he hasn't received the same buffs that other classes like Assault and Bulwark have. Assault got Hammer of Wrath in each perk tree this patch. He also got Strong Strike as a replacement for his old Hammer of Wrath perk, and both of those have made him substantially stronger, and the Bulwark class got a Shield Rush attack way back in patch 10. And while the Heavy still has a ton of damage and a ton of survivability, he's actually the second tankiest class in the entire game. He has kind of been held back a little bit by his ammo economy, and some of his guns are locked to a balanced parry window. I should say like 99% of his guns are locked to a balanced parry window, and that does hurt him a bit, so I would probably put him in A, though he is still part of top tier team comps because of perks like Encompassing Aegis. They give you a 25% range damage reduction for your entire team. He just doesn't quite have the mobility or like free damage that Assault does in those team comps, which is why he's kind of down here. You know, some people may disagree with that, but Heavy, he's still a strong class. You can't go wrong. I just think he belongs in A tier at the moment. Next class here is Bulwark. Bulwark is still the best class in Space Marine 2, in my opinion. He has an amazing amount of survivability. He is the tankiest class in the game, just fundamentally off his starting perk of a 30% HP increase. He is also able to block 100% of incoming range fire. He has the ability to heal your entire team. He has amazing melee damage perks, and his perk tree is set up in a way where you really don't have to give up anything to get his maximum damage. The Overcharge perk is one of the best perks in Space Marine 2 to give you a multiplicative damage increase on charged melee attacks. The Assault class has to specialize into that. He gets it in his Prestige perk tree though. Bulwark really is that guy. Is he the best class in every single scenario possible in the game? No, obviously not, but is he the best class in the most scenarios? I think he is, and I think he firmly belongs in S tier. The only thing he really struggles with is being able to perform ridiculous amounts of Nova damage on hordes, but that's really not his job, and if you throw him into any situation in Space Marine 2, he usually comes out on top in a war of attrition, and he is part of the best team comps in the game. And really, if you throw him into any team comp in Space Marine 2, he's going to perform well there as well because he's just that good. I see a lot of people talk about Bulwark's healing in comparison to Vanguard. The thing about Bulwark and Vanguard is that Bulwark doesn't give up anything to have full healing capabilities pretty much. He gets like a higher CDR in his banner, but that really doesn't matter too much for him because he has an amazing CDR perk in his Prestige perk tree, and on top of that, he also grants damage reduction to your team and damage prevention. And what I mean by that is, If you have the perk Focus Restoration, you will be able to tank hits that would otherwise one-shot you in melee in things like Hard Siege and Hard Stratagems. Healing doesn't do anything for you in this game if you're getting one-shot, and that's why this class is so damn strong, because you're getting full damage, full heals, and full damage prevention all in one package, and a package that has a very hard time dying on its own. Who's an amazing anchor for your team on top of that, which is why he goes up here. Now this brings us to the tactical class. Now, where the Bulwark is an amazing support because of his survivability, his ability to grant damage reduction to your entire team and heal your entire team, the tactical is an amazing support because he gives your team damage out the ass. The Auspex scan is, in my opinion, the best class ability in the entire game, and tactical is also my favorite class, and the ability to grant your entire team damage nuking capabilities is good on its own, but when you combine him with high damage classes like Assault, like Heavy, like Bulwark, he just kind of goes nuts. The ability to use Auspex on a boss and just remove it from the fight in like 3 seconds is such an amount of value generated that he really is just an S tier pick for any team comp in Space Marine 2. The only thing he seriously struggles with is survivability. He is 100% a glass cannon, and I think that's totally fine. I mean, he's a very well designed class. I think his range damage is great. His melee performance is also quite good. He has an amazing perk selection. Team perks like Secure Stockpile are also very strong to help out your entire team. And even though he is squishy, the value he generates for any team comp cannot go understated. Auspex Scan is just that good. And if you fit him into a heavy, Bulwark, Assault, Vanguard, Sniper, even Techmarine build, you're just going to go crazy because he's just that guy. So I think he firmly goes in S tier, even though all by himself he can get blown up. This is an overall tier list, and any class that's good in any comp I think is going to be in this list. So that's why he's up here. Next class is Sniper. The Sniper class has very high single target damage. He is really good at wiping out Neurothropes and Zoanthropes. He is by no means a bad class, but I do think he lags behind classes like Heavy, Bulwark, Tac, and Assault because he just lacks the Nova damage and Horde clear these classes have, or their utility perks like Auspex or Secure Stockpile. And if you compare him to his most similar class here, which would be Tac or Heavy, Heavy just has more AoE damage on top of really good single target damage, and Tactical just has a way better class ability than Camo Cloak, though Camo Cloak can be used to get your teammates up in a pinch. So he's a pretty good anchor class, but Bulwark is also a really good anchor class on top of doing tremendous damage as well. So I would probably put Sniper in B. But when we rank these bottom tier classes, or like quote unquote bottom tier classes, we're not talking about awful classes in the game. We're talking about the 5th or 7th best class in Space Marine 2, because no class in the game is currently underperforming to that degree, at least almost none of them. And I would say that Sniper, he's still a very strong class. You want to take him, you're not going to be in a very bad spot. I just put him here because I think he is below Heavy, Bulwark, Tac, and Assault, and they're just on a little bit of a higher plane. And that brings us to the Vanguard class. Now, this will probably be the most controversial placement. At the end of patch 11, Vanguard was the worst class in the game, and a lot of people think this class is like S tier because of his healing perks, but his healing build isn't even the best build he has. It's actually his Inner Fire plus Tactical Prowess Zone of Impact combo, and Inner Fire unfortunately got hit with a nerf as well in patch 11. It used to work on any kill in the game, like you've just shot Majoris in the face, you would get a 15% CDR back. Unfortunately, now it only works on executes like the description says, which does kind of suck. That definitely hurt him a lot. And he's also at the mercy of grapnel targeting, where the grapnel in Space Marine 2, this thing just needs way better targeting. The fact that it has a 10-meter requirement to actually grapnel onto a guy, that feels god-awful in this game. If they remove that, he would feel way better. There are also just things to prioritize his targeting a little bit better, and also just fix the bugs of him coming out of an execute and getting shot in the face immediately, or his execute just not triggering properly in the first place. The biggest problem, however, with Vanguard is his lack of damage. This class has no damage in comparison to things like Bulwark, Tac, Assault, Heavy, or Sniper. His boss damage is god-awful. He has terrible Horde clear compared to these classes as well. Most of his Horde clear will come from Zone of Impact and the Melt-A-Bomb spam he can do consecutive execution, which is not terrible, but like we said before, Grapnel is quite a buggy ability, and Zone of Impact can definitely get sent astray at times, and that does hurt him a lot. And while his weapon selection is actually quite good, he does have the Power Gladius, he does have the Power Axe, He does not have access to perks like Overcharge for a 20% or 25% multiplicative damage buff on his charged melee attacks, which it does hurt him as well, and most of his melee perks kind of suck. So I would say at the moment, he is below the Sniper class. He's not bad. Let's be very clear, he's not a bad class. He's just a bit weaker than the other ones, in my opinion. He's still able to punch up into higher difficulties like hard strats, siege mode to like wave 25 and stuff like that, and true solo operations. And he's also a very forgiving class thanks to those healing perks. It's just when you take him in comparison to other classes, they do tend to outperform him. That's why he goes here. That will probably be a controversial placement, but this brings us to the final class and newest class of Space Marine 2, which is the Techmarine. Now, Techmarine excels at AoE damage, burn damage, the ability to do huge arc cleaves to things like your Power Axe and Omniscient Axe, though I would say he is currently the worst class in Space Marine 2. The issue I have with Techmarine is that number one, he is very squishy, and number two, most of his weapon list is better on other classes. Any gun that he has is usually better on tactical than it is him. He is better with the Oculus than the Vanguard is, only because of his range perks, and his equipment perks are just not as good as the tactical either. So I would say that Techmarine, despite being pretty good in Space Marine 2 right now, he's definitely better than he was at the PTS. He's definitely lagging behind the other ones. I think most people are really going to struggle with this guy. I know his like leveling experience sucks ass. That's what most people are probably doing right now. But once you have him leveled up, he does feel better, though he doesn't feel quite as good as other options. A huge part of that is because he is a brand new class, and Saber is usually pretty bad at balancing new perks. Look at the Salt, for example. It took them like a year and a half to get this guy up to snuff. But one day, I'm sure Techmarine will join his brethren in the B, A, and S tier. I just think he is a little bit below them for now, but that'll probably be fixed in the coming patches. But that's pretty much everything I have to say in this video, guys. Let me know what you think about the classes in Space Marine 2 Patch 12. Which one do you think is strongest, or where do you think the Techmarine goes? And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye.